Vish, what did you think of Brandon Aiyuk? Because that was one hell of a breakout game for a rookie. So did it change your opinion of him? Did it solidify your opinion of him? What do you think?
It solidified my opinion of him. It reminded me a little bit of Deebo Samuel versus Cincinnati last year. But here's, in terms of the numbers, but here's the big difference to me between what Deebo Samuel did versus Cincinnati and what Brandon Aiyuk did yesterday. The Cincinnati game was a lot of gadget plays, if you remember. It was a lot of throwback screens. It was a lot of get Deebo in space yards after the catch. He had that one really good in-route off play action that Jimmy hit him for about 30 yards. But otherwise, it was a lot more highlighting Deebo's ability.
You remember this game a lot more vividly than I do. I'm old. Keep going.
It was a lot more highlighting Deebo's ability to just be a monster after the catch. Brandon Aiyuk, every catch that he made yesterday was not about, throw Brandon Aiyuk a screen and he's going to run away from people. Brandon Aiyuk was running routes. He was catching the ball within rhythm. He was getting to the right spot. He was catching it with his hands. And it just makes you so optimistic about what his future could be because the guy's a freak athlete.
Let me ask you it this way. Who has a higher ceiling, Aiyuk or Deebo?
Okay, they're different players to me.
They are.
This team, for me, Deebo Samuel is never going to be a number one wide receiver, quote unquote. Which is
he could be a number one weapon, but it's different. Right. Yeah.
Right. Because to me, Deebo Samuel is going to be 70 catches, close to 1,000 yards, like 400 yards rushing, 5 touchdowns catching, 3 touchdowns rushing, and he's just going to be this amazing player all around. For me, Brandon Aiyuk looks like a guy that can be 90 catches, 1,300 yards, 10 touchdowns, and he can do it consistently.
And we were talking on the phone, the difference in value they present in the red zone. Who would you rather throw a pass to in the end zone, Brandon Aiyuk or Deebo Samuel?
Brandon Aiyuk. His catch radius makes the difference to me.
No doubt. What Deebo Samuel is, he's a terrific football player, but he's not as good of a route runner as Brandon Aiyuk. He doesn't have the catch radius that Brandon Aiyuk has, and he doesn't have the hand-eye coordination that Brandon Aiyuk has. He dropped like 9 passes last year. Excellent player. But yeah, they are different. There is a difference between them, and they complement each other. What is cool, though, is that I think either one could play either spot. Because, sure, you could put Brandon Aiyuk at split end, but I think you'd also want him at flanker sometimes, so you could put him in jet sweep motion and have him running around. You could kind of switch off which guy is doing all the crazy stuff in the backfield and which guy's the vertical threat on that play, which is nice.
I do want to qualify that, though, with Aiyuk. I don't know if he'll be the kind of runner he was in college in the NFL. I don't think he runs with the same ferocity and
that Deebo does, sure.
That Deebo does.
Deebo wants to hit, man.
Deebo wants to run people over. But I do think that the offense that Kyle probably envisions 5 years from now is one with, given that Jalen Hurd stays healthy, I would say that they would have Deebo Samuel, who's so versatile, does everything. Brandon Aiyuk, who does everything and is their number one wide receiver. And then Jalen Hurd, who also does everything as their big slot.
Sounds good. I like that. Okay, so now the questions are coming in from the people. And the people want to know, how come you know so much about football? And you know what? I kind of want to know that too, because I just I know that you know it. And I figure a young man like yourself doesn't have to explain himself, but people want to know, what's your story, Vish? Why are you so good at sports journalism already?
Okay, so my dad is a giant 49ers fan. And
you're in Illinois, so you're not necessarily born into it. Well, you were born into it, but it's because of your dad.
Right. And the story of how he became a Niners fan is funny because when he first came to America and stuff, his roommate, when he was working, was a Cowboys fan. And this was height of Cowboys-Niners rivalry. And I think it was 91 or 92, as he tells me. And he said he became a Niners fan just to tick this guy off. So you would be a Niners fan just to tick him off. And then eventually he got really into it and he started loving the Niners. And when I was a kid, I think the first football game I watched with him was I started very early when I was like 3-4 years old. And the first football game I think I watched with him was the Matt Hasselbeck Seahawks versus the Mark Bulger Rams in a wild card playoff game. I think it's 03 or 04. And that's when I started watching football. And then I just started watching and slowly learning and listening to people who know and just trying to educate myself about something I'm very passionate about, which is the 49ers and football. And I still have a lot to learn, and I learn a lot from all of you guys and Grant and a tons of people, but I really
He's
do enjoy
humble too.
talking about it.
He's humble too, guys. These are natural. The funny thing is, the way I feel about sports writing is like 90% of the people who want to do it don't need to do it. There's like a supply and demand issue, but certain people have a calling. And I feel like Vish may have the calling, but what's funny is his parents want him to do computer science and he's pretty good at it. And really, how do you explain to your parents, guys, I'm going to go pursue my passion? But what I'm trying to tell Vish is these days, you don't have to choose. If you're good enough, you can start a YouTube channel and do both. So something to think about. It's always nice to have multiple revenue streams. That's what I learned from Master P. I don't know if you take classes on no limit economics these days, but I did. And Master P said you need multiple revenue streams.